Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing one of my favorite mediums that I don't do enough, and that is the big pen. And the photo reference I'm using for this drawing came from Pixabay. Here I'm using the thin big pen point. You can notice that it's in the orange cartridge versus the clear, which is like a medium point, and then the dark cartridge, which is going to be your thickest big pen point. I prefer to use the thin point pens over the medium and the thick points when I'm drawing subjects like this because the tip of the pen will build up in ink and then eventually that ink will get distributed on my drawing and create a little blob that I can't remove. Although, say if you're doing a dark background, that is going to be totally reasonable to use a thicker pen rather than this thin point, because this thin point does take me a lot longer to cover ground, but it ensures me that I get the detail that I want. When I'm working on the eyes here, that thin point is going to be great for getting that detail as well. So another reason I like the thin point is for like details and picking out those highlights in the iris of the eye that really makes that eye really pop out, makes it a lot more real. And as you may have noticed while I was going over the eyebrows, I was using that medium point, which is the clear cartridge. And I know I'm going over it like solid in some parts, so I can, risk using that medium point without having little blobs of ink being left behind. So here I'm going to the hair. I'm sort of hopping around a wee bit, but I'm doing the hair right now because it gives me a better sense of the values that I need to draw her skin. So when it's just an all white background, you have an extreme value right there. And when you draw the hair in or draw a little bit of the background in, it gives you a better sense of the values that you need to draw for your subject, if that makes sense. And now that I have a better sense of the values that I need for her skin, kind of hopping back onto the forehead and drawing that in really lightly. So I'm doing a combination of cross hatching, usually kind of for the base tones. I don't really have any solid way that I do it, but I'll usually do cross hatching for the base and then kind of go in with little round circles on top and really smooth out that skin, make it really smooth looking. In some ways I kind of find skin tones really hard because they're just so tedious. You have to go in layer and layer and layer and layer. As you guessed, pen cannot be erased, so it is better to go in lightly, conservatively with your pen strokes than it is to go like aggressively. And especially if you're new to pen, it's always gonna be like you're not sure what you're doing. But just go in lightly and just add layer after layer and then just kind of step back and review if you need to add even more layers. But you kind of get a feel for it, and I guess that's really the only way to go, is like just do it over and over again and get a sense of how many layers does it need, and what is like a light pressure versus a medium and a deep pressure. So here I am hopping around again. I went from her face to the background because I did want that better sense of the values that I needed for her face. Another trick you can do is take your reference photo, put it in black and white, take a picture of your drawing, put it in black and white, and put them side by side. Even when you have it, you know, your drawing is in progress, you can take what you have and put it side by side and see if your values add up to the reference photo. But here I'm just coloring in the background, and it's just giving me a better sense because that white really kind of bleaches things out, and I'm just having a hard time like sensing how dark does her face really need to be. One thing I find with beginners is that they usually go super light with values with the shadows. So they'll have a picture that looks a little bit gray rather than these sharp, distinctive features on the face. And one of them that can be really challenging is the lower lid. So I'm kind of going in here again conservatively, and not trying to create like bags under her eyes, but to capture that shadow that is on the left side of her face. And again, going in layer by layer by layer. And I even went back and redid more of the layering on that left side of the face because it wasn't quite dark enough. It's probably a big challenge when you're doing pin because, again, you can't erase, you can only add. So you do somewhat want to be kind of conservative in the layers you add. But like I was saying before, take that picture, put it in black and white, put it up against the reference photo and see if the values really match. And that's going to be a huge thing you can do to make sure that your picture is going to be 3D like as possible. So if you're still with me, thanks so much for watching and supporting me. I hope you're enjoying just as much as I have drawing this portrait. And I think I forgot to mention earlier that I did get this picture off of Pixabay, so it's actually not anyone that I know. I kind of picked it because it does have that girl next door look, and I wanted someone a little bit, you know, real looking, not just like supermodel-esque. But yeah, Pixabay, great place for reference photos, great place for like pictures to practice with. Here she has a couple of freckles, and I wanted to be really careful to not make them look like dirt spots on her face. I noticed with a freckle, it will have kind of an abstract shape to it. It will be a little bit lighter around the edge, but not too much. So you want to be really careful with that. And I would say go for it. Draw those freckles if they're there. Don't be scared that they're gonna look like dirt spots. I think they look like freckles. Tell me what you think, if you think they look like dirt spots or freckles. And continuing here, going over with the medium big pen, and just doing a solid black. So you could go over with a medium or thick big pen, and that's just going to make it go a lot faster. And don't forget to sign your piece. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And please feel free, again, subscribe, follow me. I will be having some actual full-length tutorials where I really break it down step by step. And I really hope you can join me for those. See you next time. Bye.